all on YouTube, Shadow-san here. Welcome back to my channel. Hope all are well. So today I want to talk about divination in the context of my own daily practice. This was not always a part of my practice. I grew up with a lot of psychic experiences and I always just received information. This being said, I explored different mediums in order to use divination as part of my practice, and I've always tried to keep a set practice as a whole. This being said, I have found that divination has become one of the more permanent aspects of my practice. However, I'm not exploring a particular form of divination at this point in time. The only divination method that I've been using right now relatively consistently in the last couple years has been crystals. And I keep crystals in this bag here. So I'm gonna open it. So I keep these types of crystals in there. I'm not entirely sure what all of these are off the top of my head. This one I know for sure is carnelian. This is, I don't remember what this is called, but I do know how these crystals work and how these crystals are utilized within magic and spell work, but I do not necessarily know any particular structure in order to do this. I just did it pretty intuitively. I always connected with crystals, and I've touched on this on my blog a little bit, but I want to dedicate a whole blog post and a whole video on how I go about readings with crystals and how I choose the crystals that I read with, which is in and of itself an intuitive process, but also crystals that I've worked with and built up an established connection. And when it comes to divination in my daily practice, this will change from week to week, from month to month, season to season, lunar phase, solar phase even, more so lunar phase and solar phases, or lunar phases and seasons, rather. In addition to using divination every day, the questions will vary as well, what kind of questions I'll inquire about, whether it's locally or globally, in addition to asking questions pertaining to my own life or what's going on right now, because especially right now, I think there's a lot of uncertainty going on. So I want to make sure that I'm getting the whole picture of what's happening. And if I don't get anything, I don't get anything. But it's worth exploring. I really didn't think that I would be using crystals or a pendulum or anything like that. Right now my pendulum is broken, so I don't really have a working pendulum at the moment. I've also used playing cards, which I don't have with me at the moment. The playing cards I use are labeled in Braille. You can use them for games, but I have a different set. And even if I didn't have a pre-made set of Braille cards, I could just use a regular deck of playing cards. I would just Braille them myself if need be. Brailing them makes it easier for me to understand which card is which, but it's a very intuitive process for me when I do divination as a whole. And I have a link in the description bar pertaining to that discussion and suggestions about divination and being visually impaired. So if you haven't checked out divination or tried a form of divination, even if it's just using stones in your backyard or playing cards or getting a set of tarot cards, whichever works for you, I would suggest you try it. Start with once a week, start with something and build that up into a cohesive whole. And you could even just start with once a week, like I said. Start at maybe a new moon phase, or start with just once you really feel you get the hang of whatever that method is. Research the history, research how it's been used and how other people use it. YouTube is a great resource for that, as well as other sources and books that can be available. I don't know any particular books in terms of tarot. Sorry about the car in the background. And I really don't know a lot about crystals in terms of like a specific system or structure. That being said, I'm sure that there is, and if somebody has a link to that, I would love to know what that link is. So if you guys have any questions or comments, please leave a comment below. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you have, please like, share, and subscribe. Make sure the notification sound is set to all when you turn it on, and I will speak to you all this week.